Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to lesson 6 of the Mool Mantra and first 5 bodies of Japji Sahib USM Gurbani Study curriculum. This is volume 2. And today we're going over the phrase Akal Murat. This is a pretty short lesson compared to the others, so we'll go through it and then we'll also talk about the activity for a second because I actually find this activity to be one of our best ones in the entire curriculum. I think it's very informative and it's very good at helping people realize what they're doing with their life and how they can improve it. So starting with the first word, Akal, literally means without and Kal means death. So Akal is referring to God as the one who is beyond time and is not even bound by time. Time has no constraint over God. And therefore, God is timeless. So Akal here has two meanings that you should remember. Number one is that Akal, God, has no beginning or end, because again, not bound by time. So as a result, there's no beginning, there's no end, there's no middle. God is boundless, God is timeless. So number one, no beginning or end. And the second is that there's no death for God. Because if you're timeless, right, you live on forever. You were never born, you're never going to die. So as a result, God has no death. God is immortal. He's beyond the cycle of birth and death. Birth and death are not related to God. God is beyond those concepts. So that's Akal. And then we also want to emphasize here that we have the potential to become Akal, to become timeless as well. If we meditate and focus and concentrate on God, we become one with Him. We reach the highest stage of enlightenment, Sachkhand. We reach that stage, we also become Akal. We escape from the cycle of birth and death. And that's the goal of every Sikh, is in this lifetime to escape from that cycle of birth and death. And then we come to Murat. Murat literally means consciousness. So, one would wonder, why is Guru Nanak Sahib talking about the idea of God having consciousness? Well, sometimes, people have this misconception that, God exists, God is in the air, God is all around us, but He's just sort of there. He's just an energy that's floating around, watching things, but He's just sort of there. He doesn't really participate in our lives. That is not true according to Sikhi. In Sikhi, God has Murat, God has consciousness, meaning God is an active participant in our life. God is not a silent observer. And what does that mean by active participant? It means God is involved with every single action and thought that we take. He doesn't just sit back and watch, but He actively participates in our life. He causes things to happen. He changes what happens in our life. He's actively participating in how our life is going and turning out. So, God isn't like, a stone or some other object that has no life in it and is not conscious. God is conscious. God is actively participating in our life. He is not a silent observer. He is an active participant. And therefore, we come to this activity here. And in this activity, you just learned by your facilitator and in this video too, that God is Akal, He is beyond time. But obviously, we are not beyond time, at least right now. We are severely limited by time. At one point in our lives, we will leave this world. We will face death. So the critical thing is, how do we use the time that we have right now? How do we use it most fruitfully in getting closer to God? And hopefully in this activity, writing out your schedule, you'll get a better idea of, hey, what am I actually doing with my time on a daily basis? And how can I make better use of the time that I have available? And your facilitator will guide you through this as well, and hopefully can lead to a very fruitful discussion. And, you can all help each other on how to improve your life in terms of getting closer to Sikhi and how to use your time better as well. And with that, I will see you next week. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.